Now looking back on the film and stuff, what was so good about what you guys were able to do? One of the best defensive performances of the season, and what's it going to take to do that again on Saturday?
Well, I thought our guys came out with the right mindset. FAU is a good offensive team. Well, in the past, they've been a good offensive team, but we feel like, we had to go out there and start fast, just make sure we was on our P's and Q's. That was our first time in a while starting fast, so we felt good about that. I think we have to come out and do the same thing this week. We got to come out the first couple of series, get a good feel for what they're doing, and then go out and do our thing.
And with Southern Miss, I guess, what are you expecting out of their offense?
One, guys have been banged up, and some guys have been out. Of course, they're going to show up the Bowling Green ready to go. So I expect their whole crew. Southern Miss is a team that's, traditionally have known to spread the ball out. They've been running the ball here good of late, the past 3 games, over 200-plus yards per game. So they'll come out and try to establish some things that's happened to us in the past. But we got to do a great job of playing team football, offense, defense, special teams, and, of course, doing our part and getting off the field when we can.
Coach, Matthew Harger with the College Heights Herald. Southern Miss is one of the weaker offenses that you guys will play this season. How does the team feel, or how's the defense feel going into this one, considering how you guys performed against FAU?
Well, sometimes if you look at those things and then you look at the film, you don't really see the weakness, you know what I mean, in regards of just the speed outside and the running backs that can break it that can break it. And the quarterback has a history of being good. So, I think we just got to come out and really do our thing, come out and play our game and do our thing and make sure that we're on point. Like, we got to be clean. We weren't as clean as it may seem as FAU, but there were some things that was happening that we could have been cleaner. We could have won the game. We could have won the game 6-0, So we just got to continue harping on those things, and we got to find a way to win games on defense at the end of the day and set our offense up and give them better field position. Sometimes punting the ball is that gives our offense bad field position. Let's get some turnovers, Like, we could have had a pick 6 early in the game that you guys probably won't see, but for us defensively, we're still sick about it. We want that back.
Yeah, and you said it. The stats don't really show it, but their quarterback, Jack Abraham, he's a senior, and just talk about how difficult it is, even though the stats don't show it, but just going up against a veteran guy.
Yeah, obviously, he's going to be poised when it's time to be poised on third down. That's when those things show up. Scrambling, those things show up. Just making the right checks. That's when you notice his senior leadership and the fact that he's been around for a while. They have Tim Jones, the receiver that gave us some problems last year, and he's back from a hamstring. You got to do a great job of really just taking care of your business at all times. That's a good football team. They just having the basically same kind of year that we're having. Basically, we feel like we're a good football team too.
Coach Jared with the Daily News. A lot of the storyline around that program this year is the changing in coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're on their 3rd acting head coach of the year. As you watch the film game to game, do you notice anything different in their style with when they're had these different coaches, I guess, throughout the year?
Just a little bit, but not a lot. I think for the most part, their offense has been what it was in the past. Obviously, I don't watch the defensive film, but I feel like it hasn't changed much. You watch the games from the beginning, and from last year, you still see some of the same plays showing up over and over again.
Coach Jared with the Daily News. We got Devin Key coming up. He's now, I believe, 3 tackles from tying the program's FBS record for career tackles. What does that say about just what he's been able to do here at Western Kentucky?
Well, it says a lot, to me, as far as a guy who, number one, has been available for all those years. 2, he's a guy who understands his defense and understands his position just as well as anybody in the building. And it showed up. And when I first got here, I told him, if you want to be a free safety in this defense, you'll make a lot of tackles. That's just how this defense is set up. And so, I think he's done exactly what we asked him to do. I think Devin's had a great career here. I think his future's bright.
To kind of go off of that, I went back and listened to what you said about him in the preseason, how he's one of those few guys that you've had for 4 years. What was your first memory of Devin Key?
His hair, one, and the fact that we had a 6 a.m. workout, and the fact that he was one of the bigger DBs who can actually move, and he had energy for days. Like, he does not get tired, it seems like. So I just remember him going through the whole workout, and we had probably 10 of those things, and he went from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. full speed the entire time. Didn't say a word to anyone. Just he was running around with his hair up high, and then all of a sudden, me and the other staff were like, "Man, this kid's gonna be a good player." And then just because he has the mindset, and it really starts there, and here we are at the end. So it all paid off.
I kind of asked you about this in the preseason too, where he was taking on a new role as a dad and stuff. And, he's one of the leaders on this team as well. How have you kind of seen him emerge just on and off the field as one of those guys that you can turn to?
That's the beauty thing about it. There's players in college football who can't handle that professional aspect of it. He has not changed one bit. Um, I almost forget that he's a father. Hasn't had any issues where he had to be somewhere. Now, obviously, it takes two people to make sure that you guys are, obviously there's a mother out there that is taking care of the kid when he's not here, or a grandparent or whatever. But that hasn't affected anything about his play. So to me, that's the signs of a professional. You have a chance to be a professional. That's the professionalism that you wish everyone had.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge in just putting points on the board, and what's it going to take to do that against Southern Miss here on Saturday?
Well, we got to have an explosive plays. Just 3 weeks in a row, we've had a 18 play, 19 play, and a 20 play drive, and we hadn't scored a single point. And I've never seen that in my life. You just got to find a way to hit a big one and give, and not even. It's not always about hitting a big one for a touchdown, but your odds of scoring a touchdown go up exponentially when you have a plus 20 play in the drive. So just got to put our guys in the right situation to give them a chance to make a big play.
With that, do you think it's more on putting them in the situation or more execution when those situations come up? Or I guess how do you look at that?
No, it's on me. I got to do a better job of giving our guys a chance to make plays. We got some playmakers on offense, and I personally just got to do a better job for those guys to give them those chances.
I didn't get a chance to ask Coach Helton this yesterday. Is Piggy going to be starting again at quarterback this week?
Yes.
In terms of him, I know these first few weeks of the season, you guys were really impressed with his progression, but now you need some of those bigger plays. I guess, what are you expecting out of him Saturday, or what more do you need from him to try to get those?
Yeah, just the aggressiveness of it. He does such a great job of taking care of the football that, I need him to when we have those, even just one-on-one opportunities, we got to be more aggressive with the football. And again, that's on me, making sure he understands when and how to do that.
Coach Matthew Hargrove here with the College Heights Herald. Gage Walker, the last 3 weeks, he's been pretty solid, running the ball for at least 75 yards in those weeks. Can you just talk about how much he has meant to the offense, even though at times it's been a struggle to score?
Well, he's such a good kid. Like, even, through the struggles of this year, never complained, never pouted, went to work every day. Understood, what was going on around him and kept working. And I think he's gotten to reap the benefit of that here lately. We just got to keep giving him opportunities. And, the same thing goes in the run game is, we got to, at times you got to make a guy miss, make two miss, and go score a touchdown with it. And, that makes playing offensive football a lot easier when you can do those things.
Coach Jared with the Daily News. Do you have an update on Dayton Wade's status?
I don't. That would be a question for Coach Helton.
With some of these receivers out and Dalvin Smith out too, I guess, what have you noticed from some of these other guys trying to step up and fill in those shoes when maybe you don't have the depth that you thought you would at the beginning of the year?
Well, I think we've had some young kids that are really coming along. I hope you get to see one or two of them in this game that, that we're almost there last week, almost got an opportunity. It didn't work out. And, I think there'll be a young guy or two that gets an opportunity this week to play a little more and hopefully, create some of those explosive plays for us.
Are those guys that you're talking about some that we've seen already more in games, or some guys that are going to get more kind of a run at it?
Well, I mean, you think about Malachi Corley. I don't think that he's offensively gotten to play a whole lot yet, maybe late in the game. Jeremiah Fales, a little more Therese trainer. We got a couple young guys that I think can help. I know Therese has gotten to play a little bit the last couple of games, but we put a lot of mileage on those with the lack of depth that we've had with Xavier and Mitch and Craig. You got to rest them a little bit early in the game to give them a chance to go be successful late in the game. So hopefully we can get a couple of those young guys in there early, and hopefully they can produce.
And with Southern Miss, I guess defensively, what stands out to you about those guys, and what's it going to take to, I guess, crack them and try to have a good offensive performance?
Well, what's always, they always have good players. They're always going to where they are in this part of the world. Being in the South, being in Mississippi, they're always going to get good high school football players from the state of Mississippi. That state does a great job with high school football, and then they're with, in my opinion, one of the better junior college associations. They're right there in that part of the world too. So they're always going to have good players. It's no different this year. They've had some things that the players can't control happen to them this year that, whether it be COVID, whether it be, different coaches and then those things that always makes it tough on a football team. And, I think a couple of their guys are getting back this week that, will make it tough for us. So athletically, they'll always be good. They do a really good job on defense scheme wise. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? There's really nobody else like these guys. They're very unique in what they do defensively. You really don't ever know where they're going to line up, what front they're going to be in, what coverage they're going to be in. They have guys going all over the place. So, they do a good job of trying to trick you, trying to fool you. And it's going to be a tough day for the quarterback to identify where people are, where the open grass is, and where we can go with the football.